Since the 5080 upgrade dropped on GeForce Now, it's proven to be quite popular, so much so that this weekend encountered issues due to high demand. Let's face it, that's quite an impressive feat, and I think it states a lot about just how much interest there is in the cloud gaming space and GeForce Now overall. Not only that, but you're seeing nothing but really positive reactions from press and users alike. I really do think nvidia has shown that they have a pretty good finger on the pulse of what people are wanting out of cloud gaming right now. I think the new features that they introduced alongside the 5080 upgrade are a major deal, such as the new CPU, the increase in bandwidth, or the cinematic quality streaming. It all culminates to really deliver on an experience that I could say rivals local gaming in a really big way. And look, I'm not just saying it to say it. I have been covering cloud gaming for the past few years now, and I've been a part of the space since OnLive. But speaking as somebody who likes to game first, rather than someone who's just doing YouTube videos, then let me just say I think we've hit that point in time where you really do need to consider GeForce Now as an option. And not just an additional option to the way you already play, but potentially how you will play going forward. Now look, once again, I'm not trying to sell you on the idea that it's the perfect solution for everyone. There's plenty of things you need to consider before you make that sort of move, but it's stuff that you should think about if you have the choice. Some deal breakers do exist, such as your ISP connection and your distance to a server. How much gaming you do a month is also a serious consideration that you need to take into account, as there is a cap on GFN without having to add to it monthly. But let's say your connection's good and you don't see yourself crossing 100 hours of playtime every month, then I think the sales pitch is pretty good. More so now than ever, as we're starting to see nvidia really deliver on that promise that cloud gaming has always brought to the table. And that's access to AAA gaming at a lower price that just keeps getting better and better over time. We've now seen a consistent path of upgrades from the 2080s originally, to the 3080, to the 4080s, and now the 5080s. The hardware is keeping up with the times, and every jump seems to be pretty significant in its own way, and that's outside of the features that affect GFN as a whole. Cinematic quality streaming, the color reproduction, HDR support, all of these things just seem to go unmatched when compared to other cloud gaming services. And I think that is just it right there. nvidia is trying to sell you a service that can really be your main way to play a game. And while yeah, it works as an alternative, and that's how I use it, I still think that nvidia GFN right now is at a better place than ever before to really take over the way I play, even more so. When they released the Steam Deck app, it was great, and it worked really well for the games I wanted to play, but I'm not gonna lie, I kinda wish it had that 90 FPS support. Now that that support's arrived alongside the new upgrade, I gotta say, it's a really welcome addition. It plays absolutely fantastic, and it feels smoother than ever before. My Steam Deck OLED is definitely getting a whole lot more play because of it, and it's all thanks to GeForce Now. The fact remains is that it's super nice being able to buy a game on your Steam library and having access to play it via such a variety of ways. Be it your laptop, your Chromebook, your tablet, your phone, your Steam Deck, your handheld device, your PC, your Shield TV, or more. You simply own one copy of a game and it's accessible through a ton of ways to play. I can't understate just how nice that feels to have. It reminds me of that Xbox slogan of, what was it again? Buy once, play anywhere, but taken to a whole new level. And really, it's not just about being made available through the cloud so you can stream it anywhere, but being able to customize your settings to really take advantage of most devices entirely. By that I mean making sure that the resolution fits and it doesn't look awkward. In the Steam Deck's case, support for HDR and 90 FPS. And when it comes to your PC, it doesn't matter if you're a classic traditional 16:9 player or if you prefer gaming in ultra-wide. GFN has you covered, and that's something that is really awesome to see. Now let's be real. Can it be better? Yes, of course, there are still things that are missing here and there. And yes, there are things you can critique nvidia for, such as the downtime that happened over this weekend for some users. Is it really cool to hear about that sort of demand? Yeah, sure, but it does suck for the paying users who couldn't play this weekend because of it. I personally would love to see nvidia be able to compensate people over a missing day or two, but in general, I really do think they're doing great work over there for the cloud space as a whole. They're pushing the boundaries further and further, standing out among the rest, and they're really kind of digging their feet in as the best way to play in the cloud. But what prevents me from recommending it as the go-to solution for a lot of people out there? Well, I hate to say it, it, but it's the game selection. Once again, not to say that there hasn't been massive improvements. In fact, we just got Borderlands 4, Battlefield 6 is on the way, and we're getting Call of Duty this year. But there are still key titles and players missing from the GFN library. I'm talking about your NBA 2K, your EAFC, various PlayStation offerings. These games mean a ton to the people who play them. In fact, they may be the only games they play. Let's also not forget about Rockstar Games. People would love to play Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption on GFN. I know I would. And truthfully speaking, I think the sad reality is that until there's an agreement or some sort of solution between nvidia and those publishers, it's going to keep a lot of people off GeForce Now for the time being. They want to play those games, and if they can't play them, believe me, they'll go elsewhere to do so. Now, truthfully speaking, I am hopeful this will be resolved at some point. When it comes to EAFC, we at least see that Amazon Luna is receiving the title, so there is room there for GFN to potentially get it too down the road. I do think some of the criticisms that some of the heads of these publishers stated in the past, such as cloud gaming not being good enough, are definitely no longer true. And in reality, I wouldn't be surprised if they know that they just have a high-end demand game and want some compensation from nvidia for it. And if that is the case, I do hope nvidia decides to hold out on that, because I think the moment you start paying those publishers to make games exclusive to a cloud service, well, it'll be a very big downtrend for cloud gaming as a whole. Once again, cloud gaming is all about accessibility and being able to play where you want to play. Just as it's happening in the console gaming space, it's great to see that games are just being made widely available to everyone who wants to play. Xbox is pretty much all in on putting their games everywhere, and we're starting to see even PlayStation dip its toes too, between the likes of Helldivers 2 and licensing some of their most popular IP to third-party publishers to make their games such as Hot Shots Golf on everything. Regardless, I think that's my main gripe with GeForce Now at this point. I think nvidia's done a fantastic job of making the service very viable, not just as an option, but a way you choose to do all of your gaming. And I don't mean that just for your casual player, but also for your hardcore gamer too. The cost effectiveness of being able to pay monthly for GFN Ultimate really far surpasses that of the cost of a GPU, let alone building a computer that's up to par with what GeForce Now can even provide. Even buying a new console, if you want the Pro model, can be pretty pricey. PS5 Pro here in Canada is pretty much $1,000. Overall, I'd love to see nvidia be able to address the game situation, maybe make up for those who get lost time when it comes to downtime. Oh, and of course, for those who play for more than 100 hours, have an option for those players to pay even more monthly if they want that unlimited access limit. There's gotta be a dollar amount that makes sense, and I think it would appease that crowd pretty quickly. I genuinely don't think that most gamers would mind paying more monthly to be able to access unlimited game time a month. But the current method of having to top off at the end of every 100 hours, well, it's just not ideal, and it doesn't really feel good as a gamer. Even though I myself don't go over 100 hours every single month, I gotta say I don't like the idea of it even being there when I know it's there. It might sound dumb, but just knowing that time limit's there makes me feel a bit anxious for some reason. Either way, those are my complaints and what I think I want to see improve on GFN's side outside of the technical aspect. It's also my opinion on why GFN is in such a good position right here and right now. Let me know your thoughts though down in the comment section below. Do you think GeForce Now Ultimate can replace the way you play games? Or do you think it's still only an option in the grand scheme of things? Why or why not? And let me know what it would need to do to really become the way you play. Either way, if you enjoyed this discussion video, hit the like button. Want more like it, subscribe to not miss out. Join our Discord community in the description below if you haven't already. And of course, this has been Steven from Anytime Anywhere Gaming, wishing you a great day. And until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.